It's based at Ashoka University. Anyway, the question is, what can men and women do to promote more women in a culture like India, where when women do it, when they push themselves, I think as Mr. Deepak Kohta pointed out, they get seen as pushy and feminist, and everybody, not many men in India would prefer a pushy woman. And on the other hand, when men take it up, there are certain social stigmas attached. So I'm more interested in people giving us examples of how we address some of those issues in our country. Examples, please. Thank you.
I'll take that. I'll just give you a little backdrop. See, today the entire world is going through a lot of chaos, terrorism, what have you. You also have a business case which was pointed out in the morning. There's a business case for ladies to come in the leadership positions. It translates in $2.7 trillion for India. Shuporno gave an example of how a lady CEO is so empathetic. Now, if you really look at the chaos that's happening in the world, you have to make a business case. Because what is change management all about? What is in it for me? If you tell the men that, look, you have a place in that, it's not about men bashing. It's about carrying everyone along. Today, fundamentally, I believe, for the world to become a better place, you need to have more and more women in the top slots. How do you do it is a very difficult question. That's a desire. But it has to come from deep within. It should not be a seminar, a lecture at a podium. You should practice it. How do you do it? I don't know.
Okay.
I would like to just add that you need to have, the objectives of embedded in your strategic goals. It has to come from the top. The policy decisions to encourage women in leadership positions. You need to have competitions. Like, only because of you're a woman, you cannot just, enter into a leadership position. You have to compete with men. So you have to give her, both of them, the equal opportunity. So the policy has to be there. Otherwise, you cannot, no one, the HR department or anywhere, you cannot really proceed.
Question there. Yeah, coming to you next.
Hi, I'm Gauri Sareen. I head an organization called Approach Talent Solutions, and we're working on diversity and inclusion as a very key area, as well as women leadership in social change. My question is that we just launched a research on high potential women who have the potential of actually reaching the top levels in organizations. And why aren't they doing enough of that? We just launched that research. And one of the things we're questioning there in that research, and my question here to you is, that isn't it time to actually start looking at redesigning workplaces? We're talking about equal opportunities in the same milieu and the same context and the same framework. But isn't it time now to start looking at the way work has been designed so far, the way structures and organizations have been designed for so far, and they have been actually designed to align with men in organizations and not women in organizations. Perhaps that really needs to be relooked, and some comments and some reflections on that would really help. Thank you.
May I risk giving an answer? I think and we've been doing a lot of political correct thinking here. And I think everybody is talking so politically correct that you're not getting anywhere. And this is my fear in all conferences like this. I think you first need to tackle the problem of having enough women in leaders before you start tackling organizational structural change. The world is going through flux. Change is happening anyway. Okay? So I think tackle it sequentially. You're not going to be able to get too many organizations to restructure the workplace. That's not going to happen first. I think get the women in there, they'll change it. This has happened in my organization. When the women are CEOs, they change a whole bunch of things that they're doing. So a woman CEO at the top position makes a change. And that will result in the kind of organization you're talking about, is my answer. But
just add a little bit to it. See, recently the Companies Act said that we need to have women directors. Now, that's a statute, it's come. But then we don't have a lot of companies which have, independent directors who are women. So the point is, to come out with enactment is one thing, but to look at the current reality is very important. The current reality is, got the mental models and, reframing is necessary. Now, whether you can do reframing by putting the people on the edge of the precipice, I don't know. These are all issues that we need to look at.
Question there. Oh, Suparna, sorry.
Sorry, go
I
ahead.
had a comment too.
Go ahead. Sorry, there are two more comments.
No, just a comment that I think the restructuring is happening anyways because, in order to meet the customer needs of tomorrow and the new businesses that are coming up, they are not following the old, in my opinion, structures anyways. So it's evolving.
Yeah. So my comment actually goes back to two words: innovation and ideas. And I actually want to use that based on the last two questions. And while I come from the U.S. and it's kind of known as being more progressive in many respects as it relates to women, I will tell you I'm one who, within the same 30-day period, I got one performance review that said I was too pushy. And the other one from another project team said I wasn't assertive enough. So as a woman, we all know what that means. But listening to the two questions, innovation and idea generation, I think, is a key role that we as women, can really take on. I would tell you that, the way that we say no or push for things that we're trying to accomplish, or even as it relates to the workplace of the future, if we can invest more time in thinking about how we can help our organizations get to the next level and be the leaders of new ideas, which means we have to keep in mind and understand what leadership's objectives are all about. But we can come up with ideas that incorporate changes for the better, right? It's always a win-win. And I believe that's how we can focus on changing the workplace of the future and repositioning ourselves in terms of how we're perceived.
Ladies, we've run out of time, but I'll take the last questions and I told her she could
I'll
take.
be very brief. My name is Shikha. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for ILFS's Capital Market Business. I have a very specific question. We spoke a lot about mentoring, Linda, and Farzana, you spoke about a policy-level intervention. Considering that businesses are as complex as they are, as women move from middle level to senior level, in your experience, have there been capability interventions other than mentoring which have helped, considering that we all have a cultural context? We could have grown up in very independent environments, but all of us carry stereotypes as we move up. So in your experience, have there been capability interventions other than mentoring, which is very one-to-one, that have worked well?
Yes, of course. When you're working in a male-dominated society, and empowering women, it's kind of a push. Like I went to some 8th March programs where I have actually came to know that we are the only organizations we have signed the Women Empowerment Principles and following them. But we need to have those, action-oriented goals, and results, the measurement, that is very, very much needed. So there are many, instances like the lady that I have mentioned, that she is now the CEO of an organization. When she took over, there are other, male, employees where they were interested. And it actually, there was an open competition. And she actually won, and they have really kind of applauded, and that's, that she is capable. And she was kind of a underwriter, and now she's actually taking over an organization and generating revenues. So that was quite a kind of a achievement. And of course, we had mentored. I mean, you have to kind of, as I've mentioned, don't give up. There will be a lot of other, areas that you need to improve, like leadership skills. Like when you are running a small department, that is really different from running a whole organization. So you need to have the leadership skills and the managerials, and of course the finance as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having helped us conclude on time. And we should, I think, sorry,
Many thanks to our panelists for a remarkably punchy, expansive, and punctual session. On the pledge that Mr. Banerjee talked about, that you don't participate on all male panels at conferences. There are a number of websites you can publicly take the pledge on, and the most popular one is owen.org, where there's a section on frequently asked questions for organizers. And the top question is, well, what if I tried to find a woman and I couldn't? And the response to that question is simply try harder. So, ladies and gentlemen, lunch is served and we conclude the morning session. I invite you to join us back in an hour. Please enjoy lunch and we look forward to having you back with us at 2 p.m. I would also like to remind everyone to please take the conference feedback forms placed on your seat and fill them in. More data is always better. And for those of us with cell phones and time to spare, please help us by reaching out to guests and members who couldn't make it. Tweet about the Talentnomics conference at Talentnomics and hashtag EMP Women India. And if you would like to know more about Talentnomics or the initiatives, our representatives are happy for conversation outside. Thank you.